Hey guys, it's Elizabeth with the Four Walls Podcast, and today I have Jamrelle with me. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining us all the way from Vietnam.
Hello, good morning from Vietnam, Elizabeth. I believe it's evening there for you.
Yes, the sun is setting.
Well, the sun just rose here. Currently, well, no, it rose a while ago, but it's 9 a.m. It's bright. The weather is not too hot today. So yeah, I think it's a beautiful day here in Vietnam. How's it going from your area?
It was a really good day, not too hot. The sun was nice and bright. It's always usually a good time in LA. I can't complain about the weather out here too much.
Mhm. All right, I see. Well, I actually just got back to Halong. Halong Bay is like a 2 hour drive from the capital city in Vietnam, which is Hanoi. I went to a digital nomad fest. So I met other travelers, other digital nomads, and we got to learn about, different skills using AI. Some of them were business owners, mindsets for success, and just a lot basically. I also met a new friend. His name is Freeman, and he taught me about using travel to transform and to improve. And it's basically a way to, yeah, it's basically self-development. So yeah, there's a lot of things we could talk about, but I'm curious as to what you guys want to know, and I'm here to answer all of your questions.
Yes, so I guess the first thing I want to know is who are you? Who is Jamrelle?
Jamrell. Jamrell is a Filipina. I am from the Philippines. I was born in the Philippines, but I grew up in Bangkok in Thailand. So that actually also affected how I view the world. So I am what we call a third culture kid. So yes, I'm born Filipino, but mentally I am also in a way Thai. So since I grew up in Thailand, I connect to the Thais more than the Filipinos. But at the end of the day, I am not Thai, right? And so I grew up in Thailand, but I moved back to the Philippines for university. And when I got there, I couldn't really relate to the people, but spending time there, I got to learn more about my home country. So I am, in a sense, a mix of two different countries. And that also sparked my love for travel because it made me realize that there's more to life and there are people in this world who move around a lot. And sometimes when we've stayed in one place for too long, it kind of feels like that's the only world we know. And in a way, that's just the world. That's just how it works. But no, when you get out of where you're from, you actually learn a lot, and it helps you become more empathetic. It helps you understand that there is more to life and there's more to the world than what you know. So that's me. That's Jamrelle. And because of what I've learned, I have just started sharing and helping people understand that there's more to life. And aside from that, as a Filipino, we have a pretty weak passport. So I have to go through a lot of challenges, hurdles just to travel and to go to different countries. So yeah, I help people. It's share basically by sharing what I know, especially with visas, documents, and that has helped other Filipinos. So in a way, by traveling and sharing my information, I also get to help people, which makes me fulfilled, honestly. When you're doing something you love and you're helping and you're contributing, that's just the trifecta, like the perfect way to live life. And there's this Japanese term called ikigai. It's finding what you're good at, what you can earn money from, and what you help people with. And that's basically something that is they call it like your purpose in life. So in a way, I'm still not yet sure if this is my ultimate purpose in life, but in a sense, it hits all that parts of ikigai for me.
Absolutely. I love that introduction. And I love that you are so open about the fact that you're very multicultural. Like you've grown up in different places and you're kind of like still trying to find like, who am I? And then you found this beautiful essence of like, oh, well, this is me and I'm gonna help others. And I think that's beautiful. That's such a great thing. So what got you
Thank you,
into
Elizabeth.
traveling?
I'm curious as well. Just wanted to ask you the same thing. I was actually about to ask you the same question that you're gonna ask me. How did you get into traveling?
Me, so I got into traveling. I guess you could say, like, when I was younger, I did like some traveling in the US. Like, I would go see family, or like we went on like one or two family vacations, but nothing like very frequent. And so, like, the first time that I really went outside of the US was when I was an adult, and I had just started my career in nursing, and it was during COVID. And one of my friends who was an engineer at the time, she was like, I've always wanted to go to Italy. And I was like, oh, well, I kind of like would want to go too. That kind of back in like 2021 kind of sparked that, like, hey, I could do this. I'm an adult now. And we got to Italy, and I was like, wow, I can really do this. I could really see the world, and it's so beautiful and eye-opening. And from there, it was just kind of like, yeah, I love this, and I love learning about other cultures and seeing things firsthand and getting to experience them through my own eyes instead of just seeing kind of what the media portrays. Okay. So yeah, my first international experience was in Italy, and kind of like the motivating factor behind that was working in a hospital. I saw a lot of people nearing the end of their life in very critical situations, and a lot of people would be very, sad and reminiscent on things. And one of the common things that I heard was, I wish I would have traveled when I was younger and didn't have the money, or, I wish I would have gone to these places. Like, now I'm older and I'm not healthy and I can't go, or it's not as fun. So that was kind of like a big push to like actually get out, because, first I was like, oh, I have to save up a lot of money. I have to prepare for life and all this other stuff. Then you like keep hearing all these people that are like, man, I wish I would have just did it. I wish I would have done it broke. I wish I would have done it like staying in cheaper places. Like, and I was like, you know what? I keep hearing this, so it sounds like it's something that I actually need to do. So that was kind of like the big push to get me to go to Italy. And then from Italy, it was just like, wow, like, yeah, I love this. This is an amazing feeling. This is like amazing opportunity. And so, yeah, that's kind of where that came from.
Mm, I see story. I love how you didn't wait for your own for you didn't wait to travel. You learned from other people's experiences and decided to try it out for yourself. So, kudos to you and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, yeah, that was such a pivotal moment for me, because I was just like, man, how can I sit here and think that I need to do this when I have all these people who have already lived their life essentially, and they're just like, dang, like this is my one regret, and it's like I didn't travel. So, obviously they're onto something. So,
Yep, yep, totally right. It's also why.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Okay. You were asking me how I got into travel. So, my pretty much traveled since I was a kid because my family moved right from the Philippines to Thailand, and we also went around Thailand for a bit. And I decided that when I was a kid, I didn't really like Thailand. I didn't have a lot of proper friends just because I was the foreigner. So when I got a chance to go to university, I went to the Philippines, and there I met more Filipinos. And I guess university was nicer for me because I also met more international people. Um, and yeah, I also met friends. One of my classmates was very well traveled. She's traveled to so many countries. And in a way, I got kind of jealous because we didn't have a lot of money growing up. And so my parents really worked hard, to work in Thailand. And we had money so I could go to, my sister and I could go to school, but I didn't have money for, the other, say, extra things. Luxury
Mhm.
for us before traveling was a luxury. And when I saw my really rich classmates, I was like, I want to do that. Like, I want those Instagram pictures as well. And it started out as just wanting what others had, what had that those experiences and those beautiful stories that they had, and the little trinkets and souvenirs they would bring home. And I wanted that, so I promised myself that after school, I am going to travel as well. And so after university, I actually graduated 2020. So peak COVID. I couldn't find a job and it was so hard to travel. So I worked online And that was kind of like my introduction into the employment. Straight out of university. I've never had a job before. It's not common in the Philippines to work while you're studying, unless, of course, you're a working student. Um, but I know in some countries in the US, you guys are encouraged or you guys are allowed to work, right? When you're 16, when you're still a minor. In the Philippines, it's not as common. So that was my introduction into, the real world. And it was COVID. Fun. But that's when I learned about, working online, like remote work. And so I realized like, oh, so I can work from anywhere in the world. When I when the borders started to open around 2022, 2023, for us here in Southeast Asia, it was around 2022 where when the borders weren't as strict anymore. And so I went back to Thailand and I got a corporate job there to explore Bangkok, on the weekends after my 9 to 5, but there was always this feeling in me that, there's more to life than this, like in and out, daily in and out, clocking in an office, sitting in a desk, bright fluorescent lighting in the office. And because I experienced remote work and I experienced what it's like to work from anywhere. Because while there was COVID, I was also just traveling inside the Philippines, just inside my country, right? And so 3.5 years later, which is where I am today, I no, I quit my job. I got an online job, an online work, remote work, and I decided to travel while working, and that's pretty much how I became a digital nomad, and that's where we are now.
Love that for you, and congratulations on graduating. Woo. But also the fact that you were just like, I see what other people are doing and I want that for myself, and you really made it happen. And now look at you. You get to work from all of these amazing places and just do things that bring you joy that's not sitting under a fluorescent light.
Yes,
So
yes, totally agree with you. And in a way, it's also similar to you, right? When you were working in a hospital and you saw these people and you decided, no, I don't want that life. That's not the life I'm gonna live. I'm gonna create a life for myself. That's really important.
absolutely. I think a lot of people see lives and they're like, this is the life that I want. But it's also kind of like, I feel like a lot of like my motivation has been like, this is a life I don't want. Like, I don't want to live like that. So how else can I live?
Mhm. Yeah.
So when you got your remote job, where was the first country you decided to go to or the first place?
Mm. Uh, when I got my remote job here, Vietnam, I applied for a 3 month visa, tourist visa here. And yeah, here I am. I'm in my, like nearing the end of my second month here in Vietnam. And I'll be here until the end of April, and then I'm flying back to Bangkok. As a Philippine passport holder, we don't really get to um, go to a lot of countries, especially uh, in the West. So we're visa free for all ASEAN countries, Association of Southeast Asian Nations. That's 10. So Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, yeah, the ASEAN countries. And so I started with that. So since I don't have to apply for visa because visas are, oh, they're crazy and it takes time and you have to go to the embassy and you have to prepare so many documents and they ask for your bank statements and all that. And I decided, I just want to start here for now, get myself into this travel and work online lifestyle. So my first country is Vietnam. I went to Hanoi first just to experience the culture. It's also the capital city. And yeah, I got to try a lot of things. It was also quite difficult talking to Vietnamese because of course they don't speak English that much, and I can't speak Vietnamese. So, yeah, I started first in Hanoi and then moved here to Halong, which is 2 hours away. It's a coastal area. So, you get to ride these cruise ships for, uh, for about like 1,000 baht. I think how much is that in dollars? Let me let me do a quick check. It should be. No, it's really cheap. So like for like $36, you get to ride a cruise ship with buffet food and you get to tour, you get to go kayaking, you get to go to caves and go hiking. And that's when I realized, because for me, the mindset was traveling is a luxury and it's expensive. And yes, plane tickets can get expensive, but once you're in the country, it doesn't have to be expensive. You can backpack. You can find these budget trips until you have more money for the more luxurious expenses, but it doesn't have to be expensive, especially since you're from LA and I know you guys there are earning US dollars. And if you bring the US dollars here to Southeast Asia, the arbitrage with the currency, there's just so much you can do. So yeah, there's just so many opportunities. It just takes a little bit of creativity, a little bit of research, and yeah, so many things you can do.
Absolutely. What has been one of your favorite things about being in Vietnam so far?
Mm. One of my favorite things here in Vietnam, honestly, it's because it's new and at the same time also very similar to where I'm from because Thailand and the Philippines, just this realization, Elizabeth, that yes, we are divided by borders, but at the end of the day, we're all human and we all feel things and we also need things. And what I really love about Vietnam is that they have this thing called a sidewalk culture. So they like to people watch. So you got cafes and then there are these tiny chairs and tables and people just sit outside sipping their coffee facing the road. So when you walk past by these people just stare at you, they just like sitting down, relaxing, and observing the world. And another thing that I also like about Vietnam is I see these these old people, like I guess they would be around 50 to 60 years old. They're still traveling together, like going, because I go to the touristy places, right? And I see these like, these Vietnamese aunties in like matching clothes, and sometimes these Vietnamese uncles just sitting around a table and just drinking together. And I love that sense of community that and it's also something that I also want to have when I grow old. Like these aunties are like in their 50s, 60s, probably retirement age, and they're traveling together with their best friends and matching clothes, and they're so loud and flamboyant and just so authentically themselves. And I'm like, wow, here I am getting worried about life, and these aunties are just enjoying. And when I went hiking and going to the mountains, there were these like Chinese aunties. I know because they started speaking in Chinese and they can get really loud. And they're hiking, in their cute little hats with their cute little sunglasses and their cute little purses. And I'm like, here heaving it. And these aunties are just like, hey, okay, let's go. I'm like, so the sense of community, the sense of just being relaxed here in Asia and health, that you can be healthy and strong in your 50s, 60s, still be able to hike. And I see that all the time because sometimes I go for walks here in the mornings or like around um late afternoon to see the sunset and I see these like aunties in their like leggings with their pouches and just like jogging and doing their little aerobics dance and just a beautiful culture of being healthy. So something that I don't see every day, something that you don't see when you are stuck in an office, or maybe for you being in a hospital, all you see are sick people. You tend to sick people, and you talk to doctors and nurses. That's something that you don't see, and it's a beautiful life. It's a beautiful life, Elizabeth.
Absolutely. I think that was one of the biggest things where it was like a culture shock coming from the US going to Vietnam. And you walk outside early in the morning or like late at night and you just see a group of like 20, 30 like older people and they're dancing, they're doing Tai Chi, they're moving and grooving and you're just like, whoa, like the park is packed. Like it's not empty.
Mhm. Yeah. Yep.
And
To know you've been to Vietnam as well. Like where did you go and what was like the most unexpected thing that you experienced here?
yeah, so we did Ho Chi Minh and we went up to Hanoi and Da Nang. So we did those three over like 2 weeks last summer. And we had a great time. We also did the bay cruise, the overnight cruise where we did like the bat caves and the kayaking and stuff. So that was a really fun experience. I think one of like my favorite things was honestly the food, the food and the cafe culture there. I was just like, wow, if I have another egg coffee,
Mm-hmm.
my heart is gonna explode.
They're really strong and really sweet, but it's also because I love learning about the history, right? So just learning that the egg coffee came as a result of Vietnamese creativity and an act of defiance and resilience. Like we're still gonna have good creamy coffee even if there's no milk. So that's how egg coffee was born. So I love that. I love that story.
Yes, and it's like, there are a bunch of, being in LA, it's a very diverse city. So, you have all of these little areas in LA that are very enriching. Like we have like Chinatown, Little Tokyo, Koreatown. We have like the Filipino area, so there's just like very distinct areas for culture. So you can go get like the food and stuff, but you don't necessarily get the history that comes with it. So it's like when you go to these places and you actually get to be there and see and hear about everything firsthand, it's like a completely different experience than, kind of like the westernized version that we get here in the States.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. I mean, nothing beats going to the actual place because I grew up in Bangkok, right, in Thailand. And when I went to the Philippines for university, there was this restaurant that sold pad Thai. And I was so shocked. Like, why is there so much liquid? Like, why is there so much, like, why is this swimming in soup? Like, pad Thai is supposed to be um dry. Pat in Thai means fry, right? So it's supposed to be fried, not swimming in soup. So I guess different cultures have different variations, and they tailor it to them. But it's just really different when you taste what a dish really is like made with the original ingredients that it was supposed to be cooked in. So there's that too.
Absolutely. And it's like, wherever you are, you can always try to replicate something, but you're not going to have the same freshness, the same ingredients, or, the same type of atmosphere as what you get. Like, even when you're a country away, like, you're still not going to have the same thing. So it's going to be a different flavor.
Totally agree with you.
So when you go back to the Philippines, do you still act like a tourist there as well, or do you kind of just go back and hang out with family?
So my family is all over the world. Well, my grandparents are in the Philippines, but my parents are in North Carolina in the US. My sister is in Bangkok. So, uh, at this point, it's I feel like a tourist in my own country, but the good thing is that I don't look like a tourist and I can still speak the Filipino language because growing up we spoke it at home. Although if people start speaking really fast and using the really deep Filipino words, it gets hard. When I first got to the Philippines as well, they were like, "What accent is that?" Like, I'm like, "Oh, it's a Thai and English accent mashed into the Filipino language." So, there's that. When I go home, when I get back to the Philippines, I feel like I will be a tourist in my own country navigating life again. But I think that's the beautiful thing is that I get to see the Philippines with fresh eyes. as an outsider, and I get to experience everything, again. And I think I try to see things from a positive perspective. Philippines, there's a lot of political unrest, and right now if I got this right, it's there's a lot of the war has caused problems with the prices in gas, and the president has declared a state of national emergency. Let me look that up. I might be wrong, but something along those lines. And so I am a bit worried about flights and going back to the Philippines, because here in Vietnam, prices are still good. With when it comes to transportation, it's still relatively cheap. But when I go to the Philippines, um, I'm worried about the instability, and if I don't mind getting stuck in the Philippines because it's home, but like I just hope that if I go to the Philippines, I won't be stuck there forever, because I do still want to travel, and do still want to see, I want to see what the world has to offer. So I think that that comes with, just life in general. But yeah, some of the things I fear, and some of the things that I'm excited about. Is it affecting, like the war? How is it affecting your hometown? How is it affecting LA, if I may ask?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's kind of what's on everyone's mind right now. It's a very weird time, I might say, for everyone because it's like the US is doing these things and it's affecting everyone, and then people in the US are kind of like ignorant towards what is going on. But it definitely you can see the prices. Like even LA is known for having high gas prices, like all of California. So I would say like what was it? Maybe like 3 weeks ago now, you could get gas for like, and we go by gallons here, so it's like four like 450, 420 like USD. Whereas like now it's like 529, $6. So it's definitely increased a lot for only being 3 weeks. So we're definitely feeling the effects, and I fear that it will only get worse.
Well, I hope you're you're okay and you're safe there with all these changes. So,
Yeah, well, definitely. Yeah, hopefully things will come to an end soon peacefully, and we can only hope. But so, with the conference that you went to, what are some of the things that you can, because that's a really cool conference to go to, especially being in Ho Chi Minh, like right time, right place, right?
mhm. Yep. So this conference is called Da Nang Nomad Fest. So, I think it happens every year. So it's in a way it's like business networking. So, uh, digital nomads, remote workers, people working online, or business owners, entrepreneurs, they come together here, um, and there are workshops, activities, speakers as well, people teaching you stuff. So it's overall a great place to learn, to connect, and just to see people who are also like you. And as someone who, I actually quit my job end of January, so I'm very new to this travel and working online lifestyle. I have traveled before and I have worked remotely, but putting those two together, that's the challenging part. So it was really nice to see people who have already been doing that for years. And when you ask around, there are people as well who will tell you that, oh, it can be difficult, it can be challenging, especially finding places, cafes with proper internet. Just overall finding a place where you can work and not be lonely, because traveling alone can be quite lonely. So it was nice to see that I was not the only one, and I can also avoid, some of the problems, some of the pitfalls that comes with remote working. Because of that event, I also joined this group chat where there are a lot of digital nomads. So, for example, if I'm in Vietnam and say I need a proper dentist, then I can just ask, like, hey guys, do you have any recommendations? And instead of like hunting for a dentist myself, I can just go straight to whatever they recommended, right? So, just by having people and having a community, you get to I guess, skip all the mistakes and just learn from other people's mistakes. And it saves you time, it saves you money, it saves you stress, especially when you're in a foreign country. Because although I look like the people here, I don't speak their language, which is really funny because sometimes I walk around and I want to buy stuff and they start speaking to me in Vietnamese. I'm just like, no, 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 no Vietnamese. And they're like, oh. And they look dumbfounded and they don't know how to communicate with you. And I don't know how to communicate with them. So I pull up my phone and Google Translate. So just a lot of these experiences that I normally would not experience in Thailand or the Philippines. So yeah, it's good to be in those rooms, with people who are just like you, especially with people who are ahead of you in this journey, right? If you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room. So for me, it was a really good opportunity to learn. Also, when it's an opportunity to make friends, and especially if you're looking to do this full time, sometimes things can be unstable. And so there was a workshop there that taught you how to make another source of income, like a second source of income, like financial literacy, especially for digital nomads, financial safety. So aside from like skill building, mindset, I also learned about, just keep protecting myself financially as well in this like unstable lifestyle. So, yeah, so many things to learn. And let me know if you're coming to one of these events. Maybe we can meet up.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, I'm not a digital nomad yet. Maybe one of these days, but for now, I just take time off and use that good old PTO. But it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's amazing that they do have things like this for digital nomads because I can only imagine how lonely. I mean, I know you've only been at it for a little while, but just being away from your family and in a country where you don't really know anyone or don't speak the language, like how have you kind of gotten through that barrier of like kind of just feeling isolated?
Mm-hmm. Basically going out. So I, as much as possible, once a day, or once at least once or twice a day, I go out. I see people. I walk around. I also have video calls with my friends. It's difficult when when you don't really speak the language, but um, you find ways and you get used to it. Also joining these events, so that helps deal with the loneliness. But I think it's also internal, right? When you don't have a friend, you've got to be your own best friend. And I think there's also something beautiful about being by yourself, being in the quiet, because you are faced with your own thoughts. You get to really hear yourself and you get to reflect more. And that's something that I really appreciate when you come from the 9 to 5, the corporate, right? I worked in marketing. So it was always day in, day out working. And the structure when it comes to sales and marketing is that you get incentives. So, oh, you need to hit this goal. You need to reach this number of leads or this number of sales. You need to be able to sell this much. It's very competitive, but the rewards are great. But also when it comes to that, it's a high pressure. It's high pressure, and you don't have time to think when you're just like always trying to get more money, make money for the company. So when you have the opportunity to slow down, I think it's also a wonderful thing. People can be surrounded, like you can be surrounded by so many people and still feel lonely. And you can be by yourself and feel totally at ease, totally fine. I and these days I love being able to think and being able to reflect and really being able to ask myself, Jamrelle, how are you feeling today? And not just how are you feeling? Why do you feel this way? What can we do to ease that? Or is this something that we just have to sit with, right? So loneliness, there's a way to go around it and it's normal. It's a feature, not a bug when it comes to digital nomad life. But, that's just how it is. You find ways and maybe it is a sign from the universe, from God, whichever you believe in, that it's a sign for you to slow down and really dive into deep into yourself. So
Absolutely. That was beautifully put, especially just, being your own best friend and being able to really sit with yourself. I think that's a beautiful thing, especially in the chaotic world that we live in where there's so much going on every day. It's like, okay, how can I just, check in with me first? So that's beautiful that you're able to do that and really like take control of that.
Mhm.
So, what are some of the things that you've kind of learned in process that you kind of wish you would have known before you got into this digital nomad lifestyle?
Mm. Things that I learned. Um, well, I wish I did more research on Vietnam, honestly. Just so many things that I did not know because um I've wanted to go to Vietnam for quite some time, but I left my job on a Friday and I flew here to Vietnam on on Monday. So I basically just had 2 days to like pack, prepare, and just went straight here. So I wish I'd done more research. But when you're in Thailand, especially if you're a foreigner, they pretty much cut your visa, so you need to leave the country as soon as possible. So yeah, that was me leaving Vietnam. I know some foreigners when their visa gets cut off, they just leave for like a day, half a day, and then come back to Thailand on a tourist visa. But I decided I'm gonna go to Vietnam and I'm gonna be there for 3 months. So yeah, everything for me is still, even though I've been here for 2 months, it's also still, how do I call this? Quite new. Like part of me is still in Thailand because I haven't completely said goodbye to Thailand. My stuff, my lease hasn't ended yet, so I'm also paying for my apartment in Thailand. But yeah, that's just I wish I knew that, you say xin chào or cảm ơn, you say thank you, and when you want to call for someone, you say cô ơi or something like that. You know those basic phrases and must try foods because I've just been going around and just like pointing like, oh, I want to try this and that. And some of the foods like questionable, but yeah, just I just wish I did more research, but I think that's also part of the fun being able to discover things. I've always been someone who likes being prepared. I've always been a very organized person, so travel really shows you, like, puts a mirror to your face, like this is gonna be when it's disorganized. How are you going to handle that challenge? And for me, it's been a challenge because like my wiring has always been I know what's coming, what's going to happen tomorrow. I know what's going to happen this week. So this is how I prepare it. Bullet one, two, three, four, five. This is how I'm going to solve it. But now it's like you have to solve it in the moment. And that's a challenge that I wish I knew. I wish I knew these things would happen. But you know, I think it's part of growth, and it's what my friend told me that travel is personal development. What was your biggest lesson here in, or what are some things that you wish you knew to Elizabeth when you got here to Vietnam?
Oh my gosh, I wish I would have known how to cross the street.
Well, the Asian crossing the street.
I saw the crosswalk on a major street. I said, "Whoa, how do I know when to go? Because there's always cars going." It's
Asian, we don't drive as well, and sometimes we don't follow the rules.
Yeah, so I just had to, take a look around and, when I saw people stand next to me and then they would walk, the first couple of times I kind of just walked with them and was like, okay, so this is how we do it. And then I like finally learned that you just go and they will stop for you and, make sure get to the other side without stopping is basically the rule.
Yes, yes. Basically, you just walk slowly and just make sure that they can see you, and yeah, they'll stop. They'll adjust for you.
Yeah, I think that was definitely the biggest thing for me is I wish I would have seen like a video or done maybe better research to be like, how do I, but that's just like one of those things where you don't really know till you get there because it's like, it's just learning in the moment.
Absolutely. And it just changes you because there are some areas here as well that are really there are some areas that are very nice, well developed, and there are areas as well where people are living in poverty. So you see the contrast, and you also see, and for me, just realizing how privileged I am because we didn't come from much, but my parents really worked for me to get to school, to have a job, and to be able to have this life. And so aside from, like learning all this fun stuff, it's also understanding the privilege and being grateful for my parents or the people who worked so you could be where you are. And in a way, because these people worked or my parents worked hard for me to be where I am now, I can't squander that. I can't just be la 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 going around wasting money, getting getting high, drinking all the time, being on drugs. And like, no, this was a life gifted to me. So, what I have now, my mind, my body, I have to take care of it. What money I have to be responsible because with freedom also comes responsibility.
Absolutely. And traveling will definitely teach you how to be responsible. It will definitely teach you what you're lacking, and it will definitely push your boundaries because if you think everything is going to go exactly according to plan, you're wrong 100% of the time, especially when it comes to travel.
Mhm. Yes, totally agree with you. I can't tell how many times, oh my God, things didn't go as planned, but it teaches you to be resilient and creative at the moment, teaches you to be adaptable.
Exactly, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about traveling and getting into like the nitty-grittiness of it is really just exposing yourself to those things that you have never been exposed to before and really pushing yourself to learn and react in different ways and be able to pivot from one thing to the next. And it's just really like you allow yourself that self-growth in such a short amount of time that I feel like you don't really get in other aspects of life. So, whenever you do end up going back to Thailand, do you think you'll go back to Bangkok, or is there other cities that you could see yourself living in?
So I still have a lease, so I still have an apartment there. The lease will end in about 3 months. So while that's there, I'm gonna be living in Bangkok, but I do plan to go to other provinces as well. Um, Especially in the south. I haven't really explored the south of Thailand. That's where all the beautiful beaches are, some pretty caves. I've been there quite like a few times, but I haven't explored as much as I would like to. And the beautiful thing about being a digital nomad is that you get to stay in one place, you get to travel slowly. So that's something I'm looking forward to be able to experience things slowly, to really savor things. Um, I do want, I still don't know, everything's up in the air, but I do want to go to the south and go to those other provinces that normal, like if I were just a tourist, I wouldn't go there if I was there traveling for like 2 weeks, maximum 3 weeks. But if I could stay there for months, then I would be able to explore it more, really take it in more. I want to be able to experience things slowly and truly learn from it. So, and not in the, oh, we got to see this because I had to go to work after a week and this is the life that I chose and I'm gonna make the most out of that. So yeah, I'm gonna be in Bangkok, but I'm also gonna be traveling to different provinces. So I hope that answers your question. Where's your next destination, Elizabeth?
It definitely did. And let me just say, I love the fact that you really want to live in one place and really get to be ingrained and learn new things and really take that slow travel because it is a completely different angle of travel versus like going to a city for 3 days. You get a completely different view on it. So I love that you're doing that and get to do that for yourself too. To answer your question, I'm meeting up with a friend next month to go to Japan for a couple of days, and then we're flying over to China to do a couple weeks in China. So that'll be a really fun girls' trip.
Enjoy, enjoy. What are you looking forward to? Any places or food that you want to see or try?
Yes, the food. I very much love the food over there. Especially I very much am excited to have Peking duck again. I think, Beijing really did its thing with Peking duck. I think it's delicious and I could eat it every day. So I'm definitely looking forward to doing that and eating the food. And we have a bunch of like I love trying new foods. So, a few food tours here sprinkled in. And then we're gonna be going into the mountains and doing some of those hikes. So I'm really excited for that. And really just be seeing my friends and getting to experience a new, country and culture together.
I also noticed that you have is that Dragon Ball? I can't really see because it's blurry, but yeah, you
Oh
got a
yeah.
lot of anime manga posters behind you. Hello, anime fan.
Yes, definitely a fan myself, but this is my partner's kind of corner of the so it is his wall, but I just kind of use it as I need. But yeah, I feel
You're
like
gonna
Dragon
be
Ball is
seeing
definitely
animes too. hmm You're gonna be seeing anime in Japan, so
absolutely definitely one of the things that, I feel like Japan is definitely the place for anime fans for sure. And especially Dragon Ball Z, I feel like that's just like culturally all over the world. Everyone recognizes it no matter where you are.
Yep.
Absolutely, but yeah, I think it's a fun background, and when you have an apartment, it's like a cute touch just to like make it your own, even in a place that you're renting. So I think that's always fun too.
Mhm.
So if you could give like advice to anyone that's like, I'm gonna start, I want to be a digital nomad, do remote work, what would your advice to them be?
Mm. Digital nomad, honestly, my advice is to first of all get your finances right. Like I'm gonna be honest, it's a very unstable life. So unless you've already prepared, I would recommend because people travel differently. When I was working my 9 to 5. I would be fine because I'd be traveling for a week and I knew that there would always be money coming in. But if you're a digital nomad, it's very important to be strict with your spending, to have, if you're starting out, at least have a few months of, I call it runway money, money saved up in case anything happens. It's also nice to have cash flow. So if you're working online, that's really good. That's important. And when you're traveling, sometimes you buy things here and there, like oh, cute little trinket. Oh, I want that cute little keychain. And then before you know it, you think it's not that expensive. Like it's $1, it's $2, it's $10. And then it piles up, and then you realize your bag is full, your luggage is heavy, you're running out of money. So um, just being mindful with your spending. I like to track my spending. I'm very strict with my spending because it also that's there's that anxiety and that fear of running out of money in the middle of nowhere where you've got no one, your family's on the other side of the world. Yeah, there's that fear. And talking about finances, make sure that you call your bank before you travel so that they don't just block your card. Because if they block your card and you're in a foreign country, you're like, you're in trouble. Like, and especially if you don't really have friends here. If it's a new place, there's no one to ask for help. So that's really difficult. If this were in your hometown, like yes, you can just drive to your local bank and get it fixed, but you've got to book a ticket, and if you can't buy a ticket if in the first place your bank is blocked. So it's like a, a whole cycle. So money, finances. I would also, before you leave, also get a checkup. Make sure that you are healthy, because like one of the worst, like I guess the second worst thing with running out of money in the foreign country is also being sick. Make sure you have your insurance. Make sure that you are also healthy, because there were times too here that I got like tired, I got sick, and I do have some like medicine that I brought with me from Thailand, but it's also why they say, don't wait till you're old to travel because health really is a big thing, a big factor. And I I went hiking and as I told you, I saw these like Chinese aunties going up these like steep stairs, climbing, and I'm really happy for them that they're healthy, and I wish I could be that strong and healthy too. So yeah, it's very eye-opening. Finances, health, and I guess the third would be adaptable. You know, expect that there will be challenges. It is a feature, not a bug. It will happen. Expect it to happen. And so prepare yourself for challenges to happen and be adaptable. So those would be my three advice pieces of advice for people who would like to get into this world of, traveling and digital nomad.
I love that. I think that's really good advice. And I really love your slogan of it's a feature, not a bug. I think that's really cute, and I think I am going to adopt that.
Mhm. Sure. I actually just heard that too from one of my favorite entrepreneurs, Alex Hermosi, and it really helps me, understand because life will just have its own challenges, and you just gotta accept that it's gonna be hard. Whether you're working a 9 to 5, oh, it's hard. Working a 9 to 5, you got stable money, but you're stuck in an office, it's hard. And when you're traveling and you're working online, it's hard. You don't have stable income. Your expenses can go up and down wherever you are, and it's hard. It everything has its own level of difficulty of hard, but you gotta just choose the kind of hard that you're okay with, the kind of hard that you're okay living with, that you can live with.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on and for talking. And I wish you the best of luck on the rest of your month in Vietnam and your transition back to Thailand and your future adventures. I think it's going to be so amazing to watch.
Thank you as well, Elizabeth, and I wish you the best with your travels to Japan and China, and enjoy.
Thank you. I'll definitely, let you know if I'm ever in